What is up, everyone, and thank you for joining me in another episode of the Film Chronicles. And in this video today, I'm going to be discussing some MCU updates that we got recently from Marvel Studios themselves. They released a celebration trailer of sorts just to kind of get back into the swing of things, and they did show off some new footage, so I'll be discussing that. Real quick, I just want to thank you guys so much for getting my Spiral video to over 100 views. We recently broke that with the Hulu top 5 recommendation that hit over 200 views. So I can't thank you guys enough for, continuing to watch it, maybe telling your friends. Whatever you guys are doing or maybe not doing, you're still supporting the channel just by clicking on the video. So thank you guys so much. Just continue to do so. Like I always say, if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell right there on your bottom right, and you'll get all the new updates for every video that I put out. And like I said in the last videos, they're going to be a lot more frequent, so be ready. It's only up from here, babies. Alright, so like I said in the intro of the video, Marvel Studios and Disney Plus, they kind of just dropped this a couple days ago, and it is a trailer showing the best moments that we've gotten so far in the first 3 phases, and then what we're getting in phase 4 coming in the future. Because practically every other month or every other couple of months, there's some Marvel content until 2022, 2023 even, actually, because some of the movies come out in 2023. But the way that this is going to work is we're essentially going to have something Marvel almost all the time, and that's pretty crazy to think about. So there's food for thought right there. First up, we actually have Black Widow, which now has a confirmed release date of July 9th, 2021. So right around the corner, basically. So since Phase 4 already begun with WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, now we're getting Black Widow to kind of fill in the gap from the movies. And this is kind of officially the start of the movie phase of Phase 4. So I'm pretty excited to see what exactly goes down with this movie, because it is kind of late in the game. I think Black Widow, a solo Black Widow film, would have worked a little better during maybe Phase 3 or kind of the middle of Phase 2. But nonetheless, it's still exciting to see. I get what they're trying to do, because we are going to see a new Black Widow, so to speak. It's going to be Florence Pugh, who's from Midsommar, and she's a great actress, coming off a really good performance in that movie and a couple other ones that she's been nominated for. So that's only going to help the powerhouse that this movie is shaping up to be, because we also have David Harbour portraying Red Guardian, David Harbour from Stranger Things, of course. We have Rachel Weisz coming in as the more seasoned Black Widow, who also is a mother figure of sorts to Natasha herself. And then we also have William Hurt coming back as General Thaddeus Ross. Ross, we've seen in Incredible Hulk, Civil War. We've seen him throughout the main MCU as kind of an antagonistic secretary. So it's going to be cool to see that. I'm pretty sure he's going to be setting up the Thunderbolts in this film. That's just my take on it. And then we also have Ray Winstone coming in to play the leader of the Red Room, and I think it's going to be Natasha's actual father. So that's a pretty big name to have in your film. So fingers crossed that this really does well. I have no doubt it's going to do well. It looks like a high octane action film, and I can't wait to see what this adds to the MCU overall, because they're obviously gonna not necessarily have to lay some seeds, but you should, because you're essentially shoehorning in the rest of the Phase 4. So now you could kind of play with the audience, and you could play with our feelings, and tease us with credits or little things in the background, whatever. So it's exciting to see, or it'll be exciting to see when this comes out, what we could find. But right before we see Black Widow, we are going to be seeing Loki, which is going to be premiering on June 9th now, so every Wednesday before Black Widow. And that's just another piece of the Phase 4 puzzle that we have here. And then immediately following the Black Widow release, we'll be getting Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings by September 3rd, 2021. So this is actually a character that I'm not overly familiar with, but from what I've gathered, it seems like a really fun character to bring. We all love that kung fu cinema. We all kind of miss seeing Jet Li, Jackie Chan, those types of figures in action, and really showing what they can do behind the scenes to make a scene really stand out, as far as an action scene. So it's cool to kind of get that, I guess, that vibe from the trailer. And the cast looks great. I mean, I believe so. We have Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, the titular character. Not too familiar with this actor, but he's super charismatic and he seems like a great face for this character and kind of, you know, being this young actor. And I think it's a really good move for him. I know there was some controversy that I kind of read up on a little bit that you know, in China they were kind of upset that they casted this actor even though he is of Chinese descent, but he grew up in Canada. I think that's kind of a silly thing, but you know, that's neither here or there. So because, you know, China, they're gonna get this movie in their market and they're gonna show it to their people, so it's not even a big deal. But there's also Aquafina coming in as a friend of Shang-Chi's. That's pretty interesting to see. It seems like from the trailer that she's a comedic relief, so you know, we'll see how that plays out. We have Tony Leung as the Mandarin himself, so it's really cool to see that we're getting a full-on Mandarin and not the cop-out version that we got in Iron Man 3. I'm excited to see how this plays out and kind of what they fill as far as the blanks of the past. And the cast, other than that, the cast is still really stacked. Michelle Yeoh is going to be in this film. Fala Chen, I don't know who that is. But nonetheless, this is a movie to keep your eyes out for. So we'll be seeing this on September 3rd, 2021. And then sometime before that, we'll be seeing Marvel's What If. It's supposed to premiere around mid-2021, so I would assume it's going to be around that point, or a little before. I would say like around August, but who knows. And then on November 5th, 2021, we'll finally be getting Marvel's Eternals, which is going to be a really big movie, I'm predicting. Just because, well, for one, it's coming from Chloe Zhao, who just won a buttload of Oscar nominations for, I can't remember, Nomadland. Sorry, I was stuttering all around. And not only that, but the cast alone is really stacked. I mean, just from the list that we have here, we have Angelina Jolie appearing as Athena. We have Richard Madden appearing as Icarus, the leader of the Eternals. We have Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo. We have Lauren Ridloff as Makari, who actually is a gender-bent character from the Eternals comic. She was just a male speedster, and now she's a female speedster, no big deal. Brian Tyree Henry as Phastos, who's confirmed to be one of the first out of the closet characters that's going to push the mainstream narrative for representation in the MCU, which is a big plus if you're all about that. So that's cool to see. Salma Hayek as Ajak, the healer and a spiritual leader, I guess you can say. And we have Leah McHugh as Sprite, who looks like a child, but actually is a 1,000-year-old, you know, adult in a child's body. We have Don Lee as Gilgamesh. Don Lee is actually from Train to Busan as probably the most popular character. Won't name drop him, but if you know, you know. Kit Harington, of course, is coming in as Dane Whitman or Black Knight, and that's a pretty badass character to see pop in. Gemma Chan will be back in the MCU. She has a new role in this film as Cersei, who is probably going to be one of the main two protagonists of the film. And then we have Barry Keoghan as Druig, a Eternal who could control minds. I think he's going to be one of the more villain-like characters in this film. And the film itself looks to be shot, you know, beautifully. So I'm excited to see, you know, what this adds to the MCU's history, just because this is going to span, you know, past 2,000 years, and there's a lot of, you know, room for Marvel to really play with that history and kind of lay the seeds into everything and show how exactly the Eternals have been involved and maybe why they didn't choose to come back at all. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds. And like I said, you know, the cast is stellar, and you have Chloe Zhao, who's a great writer, great director, and you know, that's obviously proven with her recent Oscar win, so that's a big plus. And then presumably the most hyped Phase 4 entry is going to be Spider-Man No Way Home, the final film in the MCU Spider-Man trilogy that will either, you know, close off Peter Parker's storyline or reopen it again and remake a deal with Marvel to keep this character here. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the second option. You know, there's no way that Sony and Marvel are going to lose this cash cow that they have with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. So, you know, that's a no-brainer. And you know, some big news did come out about Spider-Man No Way Home, with Alfred Molina returning as Sam Raimi's Doc Ock from, you know, the Raimi trilogy with Tobey Maguire. There's also reports that Jamie Foxx is returning as Electro, which he was in The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. And then there's the big rumor that all three Spider-Man will appear in this third Spider-Man film. So it's essentially a Spider-Verse film, but it's actually kind of funny because it's Marvel's and Sony's worst kept secret, since, you know, practically everyone knows with certain things that were lining up, such as, you know, stunt doubles Instagram post, or whether it be paparazzi actually capturing Tobey Maguire, you know, shaved, actually, you know, in better shape, and presumably the same shape that he had when he was Spider-Man. You know, Andrew Garfield is reportedly in the area as well where they're filming. So, you know, all the seeds are there, and at this point, if they were not to do a Spider-Verse film, I think it would really backfire in the face of Marvel and Sony. So, you know, hey, if you guys are watching this for some reason, Sony and Marvel, please don't try to back out of this Spider-Verse. Just do it and, you know, make the multiverse a reality. And No Way Home will be followed by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So basically, WandaVision, Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange are like a loose franchise of films. They're all connected in the sense that what is going on with the time travel, the multiverse, and stuff like that is affecting their realities. So, you know, we will be seeing Doctor Strange appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was also something that was exclusively reported by, I think it was either Variety or The Hollywood Reporter. But it's basically well known at this point. Sam Raimi is also back in the director's chair for this film, which is crazy because he did the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy, and he's on for Doctor Strange 2, which is cool because he also did the Evil Dead 1 and 2, you know, which are super staple films in the horror realm. So it's going to be cool to see him hopefully bring that horror element to Doctor Strange, because after all, Doctor Strange is a cosmic character, and a lot of the pages from the comics are pretty tripped out and look really scary if you think about it. So whatever events happen within Loki, and then whatever happens in No Way Home, will directly lead into Multiverse of Madness, and whether they get wrapped up in Multiverse of Madness or propelled even further into craziness, that remains to be seen. I know as much as you guys might know, which is probably nothing. And then right after that, we'll be getting Thor 4, more Thor. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually Thor Love and Thunder. It'll be coming out May 6, 2022. And it is going to be directed again by Taika Waititi and written by him. Obviously, he came off of Thor Ragnarok, which is probably one of the better films in the Thor franchise. So it's going to be cool to see. And somehow they brought on Christian Bale as the movie's villain, who is actually Gore the God Butcher. And in the comics, he has a correlation to Null. Null is the symbiote god, essentially. I don't think they're going to do that in this film, since the Sony and Marvel's relationship with symbiotes and all that related Spider-Man nonsense is really dumb and tied up. So I don't think we'll be seeing that, but it'll still be cool to see Gore the God Butcher come to life. So along with Christian Bale, obviously we have Chris Hemsworth back as Thor. We have Tessa Thompson back as Valkyrie. Natalie Portman is making a return, and she hasn't been in a film since Thor: The Dark World. She technically had a cameo in Endgame, but it was off screen mostly. But she'll be back as Jane Foster, but then she'll be becoming Mighty Thor, like in the comics, which is really cool. I don't know if they're going to adapt the storyline where she gets cancer, and that is one of the reasons why I can't pronounce the Hammer's name, so I'm not going to try. But the Hammer decides to choose her and bestow her with the powers, and it keeps her alive, essentially. So I don't know if they're going to go with that route, but if they do, that's going to be a heartbreaking story to see. We also have some of the Guardians coming back in a cameo. Star-Lord, Drax the Destroyer, Mantis, Nebula, and Kraglin, actually played by Sean Gunn. And we'll be seeing also the Grandmaster according to the cast list. And then we'll also be seeing Sif make a return. She hasn't been seen since Thor: The Dark World as well. Although the Warriors 3 did get killed off in Ragnarok, but she was not a part of that. So it'll be cool to see that. Additionally, we're getting some cameos again. We got Matt Damon and Sam Neill coming back, plus Luke Hemsworth. And then they're also adding Melissa McCarthy in a cameo, and her husband/director Ben Falcone. And Russell Crowe is going to be in as Zeus, the king of all the gods in the MCU, basically. And then shortly after, we'll be getting the follow-up to Black Panther. This is going to be subtitled Wakanda Forever, which I think is pretty touching relative to the situation that we have here with Chadwick Boseman's untimely death. It'll be interesting to see what the story is and where they decide to go with it. A lot of the actresses and actors have been saying that director Ryan Coogler has been treating it with the utmost respect and, you know, care. So like I said, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it is a sore, touchy subject to get up on, but, you know, we are going to get a sequel, and we are going to see where Wakanda goes, you know, in the future, because not only with this sequel, we're also getting a show that Coogler announced that he's doing with Disney Plus. So whatever that ends up being about, you know, we'll find out in the later years. And then right after that, we'll be getting the Marvels, which is Captain Marvel's sequel. It's going to come out November 11th, 2022. And in 2021, we'll be seeing Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, in her own debut show. So it's safe to assume that we'll be seeing Captain Marvel team up with Miss Marvel. And I'm also going to throw in Spectrum, right, from WandaVision. We'll be seeing her pop up in this as well, just because she got her powers in WandaVision, so it's safe to say that she'll be in this film, as she has, you know, some sort of issue with Captain Marvel, as stated in the WandaVision show. So we'll probably see that play out in this film. Like I said, November 11th, 2022 is when we're seeing the sequel to Captain Marvel. And now towards the end of Phase 4, we get Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which is going to drop February 17, 2023. It was actually announced pretty early on that they're going to debut King the Conqueror in this film, or maybe there's a rumor that he'll be in Loki, but I think it's more safe to say that he's going to debut in this film. But it's the third film in the Ant-Man trilogy, and I think it is going to have big, huge implications for the future and for Phase 5, because, you know, this is the end of Phase 4, so this isn't something that is set up beforehand. It's pretty much setting up the next wave. And then on May 5th, we'll be getting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, obviously directed and written by James Gunn, wrapping up this trilogy, which is a, you know, big staple in the MCU. He's pretty busy right now wrapping up his own DC properties. He has a Peacemaker show that spun off from the Suicide Squad film that he's making. So this will be a good, you know, closeout film, and it's going to be a sad thing to see, but I'm pretty sure the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to stay in the MCU for certain. So there's that. But what's really exciting to see is that Fantastic Four is going to be the final film in the Phase 4 lineup. How, you know, poetic is that? In Phase 4, we get Fantastic Four to wrap up, you know, the end of the phase. That's super exciting to see. We do know some information. You know, I guess the only thing is that John Watts is moving from the Spider-Man trilogy into the Fantastic Four trilogy, presumably, or at least the first Fantastic Four film. But we know that they're actively casting and looking right now, so pretty soon down the road we're going to get some sort of cast list. We're going to get some sort of idea of where, you know, the plot will go, and or maybe we don't, because this is going to be coming after Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is in 2023, so that's still 2 years out from now when I'm making this video. So who knows what information we'll get between now and then, but whatever it is, I'll be covering it. And then, of course, some of the shows that I didn't really mention, but I mean kind of should have been known at this point, is the Hawkeye show, which will be coming out in late 2021. Jeremy Renner. We have Haley Stanfield coming in as the replacement Hawkeye, essentially. Moon Knight with Oscar Isaac announced as Moon Knight, and Ethan Hawke at least announced in some sort of antagonistic role. Other than that, there's not a lot of information there. She-Hulk will be coming out in 2022, and these first, I would say 6 of the Disney Plus TV series, they're already filming or already done filming and in post-production, so that's a big thing. We're also getting Secret Invasion, which they've announced some cast list for: Samuel L. Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn. They're also rumoring some other people right now. Ironheart show, Armor Wars show, and of course the Secret Wakanda show for Disney Plus. So those will all be included in the Phase 4. So it's a pretty stacked list. Not only do we have the, you know, about 9-10 movies in it, but we also have the 9 to 10 TV shows along with it to kind of supplement anything that's left out. So, you know, big time right now for Marvel. Like I said, you know, my title is The Future is Marvel, and that stands true. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. That's going to wrap up this video. Once again, I thank you guys so much for clicking on the video, sitting through it, or at least sitting through some minutes of the video. Be sure to drop a like, of course. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Be sure to turn on that notification bell so that we guys get all the updates for any new videos that I put out. And just keep on the lookout. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you guys later.